I want to take a few moments and talk about two new features in the Nikon D5300. That is the Wi-Fi functions that are now built in. You no longer need that little Wi-Fi dongle, the WU-1A. And you have a GPS built in as well, so you no longer need the little GPS device that Nikon sells or third parties. But watch this video because you may want to hang on to yours if you already own one, or consider picking one up if GPS is important to you. So let's just dive right in and talk about the Wi-Fi first. First, you can see you got a little GPS locating icon going on right there. We'll talk about that in a minute. So I'm going to go into menu, and I'm on the setup menu. Wi-Fi is at the very bottom, so you can scroll way down, or you can loop yourself around by going up and going to Wi-Fi. I'm going to keep this really simple. This isn't really a how-to. This is more of an overview. So the network connection, I'm just going to enable. And it's going to take a second for it to think about that, and then it's going to get it going. And under your network settings, you can set up security, or you can just leave it open-ended. And I've left mine open-ended. I just went and found the SSID. And over on my device, because I've connected to it already, it has in fact, oh, not yet. Here we go. Let's bring this up. And let it look for a moment. And there, it's found it, it's connected to it, and because it's connected to it previously, and I've set up a preference in the app on the phone to automatically launch when it sees that Wi-Fi network. So I can come out of there, or I can just bring my notifications down and bring up the app. And so now I have an option of taking photos or viewing photos. So these two things are talking to each other. Wi-Fi, it's connected to the Wi-Fi on the camera. The range is not great. I've had success up to about 15 feet. Pretty short distance. Beyond that, I lose it. Now, I've only tried with the phone. I haven't tried with the multiple devices, but I suspect that most of that issue lies in the camera itself. I believe that the chip is pretty weak. So let's just go to view photos. It's going to talk to the camera, and well, actually it asks you first, do you want to look at pictures on the camera or on your smart device? So these are pictures you've already downloaded in the gallery. We want to look at pictures on the camera. And so it takes a minute to download those. I've just been doing some burst test shots with different SD cards. We're going to have a lot of black pictures. That's what all of those are, so that's not anything wrong. But I should have one or two down here at the bottom that aren't black. No, I haven't taken any at all. So those are all black pictures. So let's go back by just hitting the back button. And back again, and go to take photos. And so now I've got live view turned on in the preferences here, so here comes the live view, and I have it set so that when I push the shutter button on the phone, it will take a picture. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. It's just taking a picture, and I have it set to automatically download when this app is connected. So as soon as a picture happens, it downloads it, and you have some controls over the size of those images, and we'll look in just a second. It's got a nice little battery chart for me, and it has my shutter speed and my aperture and number of images remaining on the card. This picture's a little dark. I want to change it. Nope, can't do that. If you want to make any adjustments to the picture, you have to do that on the camera, and I'm over here on the camera right now. And I'm just going to adjust. Oh, it's not going to let me, is it? No. So we got to give control back over to the camera. And now I can just bring my ISO up, maybe about, what, 2500? And we have a little bit brighter of a picture. Let's see. I could look on the back of the camera, or I could switch back over to live view on the phone, and it connects. And there we go. A nice bright picture. You can see the audio recording, the 18 to 105 sitting there, and some other junk. And now I can take a picture. And the response time is very good. Basically, as soon as I press my finger on that button, it takes the picture and looks pretty good. Let's look at our settings real quick in this screen. Live view on or off, download after shooting is on, or self-timer. This is nice if you want to be in the group and you want to trigger it from your phone. So you're over there in your group. You don't have to worry about the running back into the group part, but you do have to worry about putting your phone down at your side or sliding it into your pocket quickly. So we can turn that on and we can go back. And now we press the button and we can see that there was a delay of about 2 seconds. I think it's a 2-second delay. So that should be enough to get your phone in your pocket or behind your back very quickly so that it's not in the shot. All right, let's look at some of our other options. If we come back out here and we go into our little gear, We can choose to synchronize the clock from the phone or device to the camera. We can set up some options so that if either of the battery levels in either device drop below a certain percent, it will turn this off, because Wi-Fi definitely is a battery drain. I would not walk around with Wi-Fi on very often. What kind of thumbnails does it show you, large or standard? And it doesn't really say what those differences are. Large seem to be fine. Again, it's speedy. Most of these smart devices have GPS. That GPS knows what time you're walking around. The camera knows what time you're taking a picture. And when these two things get together, the app can nicely say, all right, well, this is where you were at this amount of time. So you can have that option as well. And image size. What size should come over? Recommended size for optimized display, or VGA, much smaller. And so I don't recommended sizes. I think they're about a meg or so. I actually haven't looked at those carefully. This is what I told you, whether the app will automatically launch when the wireless network from the camera is detected. And then we can get into the wireless settings right here to talk back over to the camera, and you can set those up and your language. And that's really pretty much all of your settings here. So it works very nicely for taking your pictures off, or for being part of the group, or just remotely firing. I wish that it did allow you to change the settings on the camera. That's something you can do on the Canon side with Wi-Fi 70D. 70D Wi-Fi and the 6D, very robust. You can connect to hotspots. You can connect to your computer. You can connect to a smartphone. So a lot more options over there on the Canon side with the Wi-Fi built in. But I have to say that this software on the Mac, at least on the Canon side, is very buggy. So one thing I like about this Nikon is that it works, and it works very well, even if your options are limited. I want to talk about the GPS now on the Nikon D5300. I made some negative references towards it. I've now played a little bit more since actually making the first part of this video, and having better results, still not great. And it's a real trade-off between battery life and connectivity with GPS. But let's look at your options and talk a little bit about why I've been frustrated with it, and we'll go from there. So we go into the menu, and on the setup menu, just a few clicks above Wi-Fi data is location data, or Wi-Fi. Record location data is currently off. I'm going to go ahead and turn that on. And it's going to take a second to do that. And now you can see we have this little blinking satellite GPS icon down here in the bottom right corner. Now, under GPS options, if you really want to make sure that every single one of your images is tagged when the GPS is on, you should turn the standby timer off. What happens is, as soon as the screen goes to sleep, the GPS stops working or stops listening. And when you half press the shutter to wake it up, the screen instantly comes on. The camera's ready to take a picture right away. And it's likely that you may take a picture within a 5-6 second period. And if you've traveled any kind of distance from where it last went to sleep, or if your hand is covering this a little bit too much, it can really struggle to get a lock again, and you're going to end up with images that aren't tagged. So you want to make sure you turn this on. The downside of turning this on is this GPS is now going to be constantly listening, and it's really going to chew through your battery. And then one of the neat features is these satellites up there have very precise clocks in them, so you can tell the camera to set its time from those, so it's going to be very precise. And you can update the GPS. Now, a very quick GPS lesson. There's these satellites, 24 of them, I believe, maybe even a few more than that, in a orbit around the Earth constellation, sending out messages, information that our GPS devices listen for, and based on what they hear, they can determine where they are. Now, our cell phones have a really easy time of it because they can talk to the cell towers and roughly know where they are. Once they roughly know where they are, they can then listen to where they expect the satellites to be. That's kind of, I'm simplifying this, but it's the general idea. If your GPS device doesn't have any way to assist itself, either with importing data or connecting to cell towers, it can sometimes be quite a while as it's really just kind of blindly listening and has no frame of reference at all of where it should be listening or what it should be listening for. Again, simplifying, but that's the general idea. What Nikon allows you to do is to go grab a file from their website, download it, put it on the Nikon card, put it in your camera, and then say update a GPS data. And I don't have any current information in there. I've done that earlier today, and I found that that does make a significant difference in how fast this GPS is able to get a signal. And so, I'm disappointed. It's a weak GPS because it can lose the signal pretty easily, and it can also have a lot of trouble finding the satellites without this AGPS data. I was in a giant open field for half an hour and it did not pick up any kind of signal. My cell phone instantly, now my cell phone was getting the assisted GPS device right away, and the Canon GPS, which does not have any assisted data, but is a dedicated $200 GPS system, was getting a signal, not right away, but within a minute. And that's what I expect of any GPS, cold or warm startup. What do I mean by cold or warm? Well, cold is when you turn it on and it's been moved a great distance from its last location. So again, it's completely blind, has no frame of reference. Warm is when you're turning it back on pretty near to where you last turned it off. So and most GPSs are smart enough to start listening with the frame of reference that, well, I was just in, western Nebraska. I'm going to listen like I'm in western Nebraska again, and oftentimes that works very well. So you can put this file in here, and now it does get location data much faster. Now you can see it hasn't grabbed any connection yet, and I'm not terribly surprised by that. I am in a house. Other GPS devices could get a lock in this location. So let's look at our other options in here real quick though, because there are some that I like. Create a log. So this is nice. You can actually create a track log of where you've been and then display that on a map. So you have to start, end, and pause a location, a log. And there are options. If we, let's say, end it for a second so we can look at our options. How often should it be recording your points? 15 seconds, 30 seconds, or 60 seconds. Depends on how fast you're moving. And how long do you want this log length to be in hours? 6 hours, 12 hours, or 24 hours? Again, these options are really going to chew through your battery. I've seen it demolish a battery in just over an hour with log data on and it trying to listen for satellites full time. So you really need to watch that. And it's very easy to forget that you've turned this on, and so you want to watch out for that as well. And the log data is kind of a proprietary, roughly proprietary Nikon format, but you send that up to some place like a GPS visualizer and you can easily convert it to a KML or a GPX file, which is easily importable into Lightroom, Google Earth, lots of options as well. So it's very nice there that you can do that. On the Canon side, the track log that it can create is this very Canon proprietary. You must use Canon software. And that's frustrating to me because Canon software is often not so great. And our last option under there, did we do all of them? Log list. So you can go back and see logs that you've created in the past. You can delete it. You can move it, I guess, to someplace else on the card. So let's take this outside for a second and look, because what we'll get is we will get a 1 and a 2 and a 3, we get a 2 and a 3 bars next to our satellites when it does have better signal strength. Okay, we're outside now, and I'm going to go ahead and turn on the location data. We're going to see how long that takes to grab location. And now it's got 3 bars, which tells us that it has both latitude, longitude, and elevation information, or enough signal strength to get all of that data in. One other problem or issue that I am bummed about is that when you take a picture, I get the GoPro mounted right in front of it, but when you take a picture you have the ability to see a lot of different information down here, but really all you can see is that it grabbed location data. You can't get any of that data while you're on the camera. And with the Canon side, you do have a nice display down here of your latitude, longitude, and your elevation, and actually even your heading, because there is a compass built in. But again, that is a dedicated GPS device. Alright, so this was a discussion of the Nikon D5300 Wi-Fi and GPS features. Wi-Fi, pretty good. Wish it wasn't quite so limited. GPS, you gotta apply that assisted GPS data, and you really need to make sure that you turn off that. Let me show you what happens if you don't turn off. Let's go to GPS options, right? And standby timer is on. I thought I had turned that off. I think it resets itself each time. And now I actually have all of the settings in this camera set to be on for a very long time. Where is that? Options, auto off timers. I'm going to put these on normal for a second here. And the screen will turn off fairly quickly. And what we'll see after the screen turns off is that we lose, okay, screen's off. I have pressed the shutter button, and you can see that it is now searching for the GPS again. It's going to get it fairly quickly, but there is a good chance that I would want to take a picture in this next 6 to 7 seconds, and you can see that it's got its signal now. Okay, so now I'm done. D5300, Wi-Fi, GPS discussion. If you've got questions about any of those, just leave a comment down below. Come over and find us on the Facebook page. We have a great community of folks building up there, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you have. Thanks so much for watching, and if you haven't already, please subscribe.